attach a script to an email, it's a good idea to name it the name of the show. The file should be the name of your show. Now, when you rewrite your show 13 times, you might not want to say number 13, but you could put the date, right? My show, Grapefruit, September 2013, right? But certainly don't send in a file that's called First Draft. Don't send in a file that's called F72. That ends up on my iPad. I don't know who that belongs to. And what it says, besides confusing me and making me annoyed and having to go look up stuff, is it says that you didn't have even the effort to hit rename and rename your file. So it's really important to present a package that is across the board. It's like going out in a nice outfit with dirty socks and no shoes. You've got to finish. The whole thing should be presented nicely, like you were talking about. It's a presentation. So that's what my big pet peeve. Name your file.
Yeah. I think you want to follow the instructions, which sounds so simple. But there are so many theaters and festivals you apply to that tell you to do that. To like name the file, your first name, your last name, the title of the script. Do it exactly this way. And when you don't do that with the file names, you're basically asking to get lost. You're dealing with a lot of people, and if your file name is script, it's gone. It's disappeared, and we're never going to find it again. And simple things like we had an artistic statement in our application process, and it said in your artistic statement, please answer the following questions. Answer the questions. Provide the things we're asking for, and at the time that we're asking for them. Following instructions is the easiest thing in the world, yet it so rarely happens. And know what you're applying for. I was on the selection committee for a 10-minute play festival and received a lot of very, very long full-length plays. Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Oh, one other pet peeve. When the information, which I do in my submission, I go through it with a fine-tooth comb and try to say everything that you could possibly need to know. Please don't call. Unless for some reason I missed it and didn't tell you what you need to know. You're fielding 50, 60, 70 calls, so the more calls you get, the more time you have to spend fielding calls instead of doing your job. So, and when you call, what it says to me is, I didn't bother to read what you put together, which is like saying I didn't bother to eat the banquet you prepared. So do read it, and only call if you need to call.
And on that note, if it says please email, don't call. And email the address that's in there. Like we said specifically, please email submissions@afofest.org. The reason that we do that is that way all of the submissions emails are in one place. That is, we can easily search if, say, you come back to us later and you're like, but we talked about this and you said this was okay, or if we need to go back and see. I don't think it affected anything this year, but we did go back when we got down to a certain level to see what our conversations with people were like. Like, did anyone ask us questions on the FAQ that we really like their show, but then is that someone that you want to produce their show for? Because are they going to read your instructions about the box office and about tech and about how to submit their final scripts and what their deadlines are?
That's right.
Following instructions.
Yeah, exactly. You want to have a great show, but you also want to be someone people want to work with. Yeah.
Do you have?
I mean, I think all of that. I mean, I don't know. I guess it is, my biggest pet peeve are the folks that call too much or that email too much, that are, if you have 5 questions, don't ask them in 5 emails. Think through it.
What she said.
Think through it and compose your emails. And if you do end up needing to call, the database is broken and the submission deadline is 5 hours from now, don't then pitch me your show. Don't pitch who's ever on the phone the show. Get the information you need and move on. And it's not because we don't care, but it is just a sense of time and respecting that we are fielding, if the database is down, everyone's affected. So, in those instances, we have a wonderful set of interns who really want to care for your call, and I'm like, so it's a hard balance, because they don't want to, none of us want to make you feel like you're an annoyance, but and it's not that. It's just that time is of the essence in that regard.
Yeah, it's a lot of volunteer labor involved in festivals, so, yeah.
Yeah, off that, if you make my interns cry, you're not getting my festival. You have to be nice. It's a job. It's a job interview. It's a job application. But yeah, be nice on the phone. Also, and in your emails. Also, if, for example, we also had a 2-month submissions process. And I can't tell you how many times I wrote, please don't leave it till the last minute. I got 50% of our submissions all came in on the last day. And about 25% of them came in the last 2 hours. And then the server crashed. Because...
That's brutal.
Yeah. If
I
you
just
can
thought
get
of one
things-
more, by the way.
Oh,
when
you got one
get
more?
done. Yeah.
But if you can get your stuff in earlier, that doesn't mean you have to get it in the first day or even the first month of submissions open, because that doesn't affect our decision at all. But don't leave it till the last minute. Like, give yourself some time, especially in case there's something on the form that you missed when you were going through the instructions, and then all of a sudden you're there and it's an hour till the deadline, and you're not really sure that the internet's working or the power went down. And you also now figured out that you have to have your director's resume in addition to your own. Like, don't leave it till the last minute, I guess, is my biggest thing.
Scripts. Check out how to format them properly. Don't give us a single-spaced, or at least with me anyway, not a single-spaced script full of misspellings. It says, I don't respect my work. If you give misspellings, single-spaced, not formatted properly. It's really important to appear like you know what you're doing, and misspellings and bad grammar and poor formatting says, I didn't bother. And definitely don't send in a script. I had one year, I couldn't believe it. She gets down about halfway through and she goes, so I haven't written this part yet, but it's going to be about blah, blah. I put her on the no pile immediately. It didn't even matter how good it had been up to that point. If you haven't finished writing your script, don't submit it. That's just an amateur error. So finish it.
Yeah, I'll say on our front, we did accept unfinished scripts because we were trying to get a couple of new works that we could really kind of help. And that turned out really well for us, but there was also a certain way to do it. And the way is probably not to surprise someone in the middle of your script when the rest isn't written yet. So here we go.
Yeah, and did you say you were accepting unfinished
Yes.
scripts?
Yes.
See, and I don't accept unfinished scripts, and it says so in my guidelines. No unfinished scripts. So yeah, read the guidelines. Yeah.
We also accept unfinished scripts. We also like to have a couple developmental pieces. With those, we're also looking for a track record, whether it's with the director or with the actor, and certainly the playwright. So to that end, we're kind of on the same page as well. I was going to say something. What were you saying before about?
Time, databases crashing.
Yeah.
Fear of all.
Luckily, knock on wood, our database, we have a completely external database, so we don't manage it on our own site. So we haven't faced that, but we do see, I would actually go more in the 60 to 65% range in the last week. And when you do submit early, your name gets remembered and noted. More so than when you're, you've got 100 coming in at the end,
Yeah, Because it gets blurry after a while. If you read 20 scripts in a day, or even 10 scripts in a day, they all kind of join together. But the one you read, one on Thursday, one on Friday, one on Saturday, all of those sit nice and clear.
And with we have a submissions committee, we have a reading committee, and you know, we filter them out as they come. So in the beginning, the committee's really into it, really invested, right? And they're really writing thorough reports and really absorbing, you know, what's being seen. By the end, they're like 3 minutes done, 10 pages done. You know, like it really, you know, it gets to the point at the end that people just kind of start just plowing. So earlier definitely gets you more individualized attention.
And a little follow-up to that is, do this for yourself as well. Because I also submit to festivals as a writer and performer. And you don't want to put yourself under the gun. You don't want to do anything against a deadline. If your deadline has you up writing the night before at midnight, that's not good to yourself. You're not going to do your best work that way. Give yourself some room. If you need to finish this project by September 15th, start it in July, not September 1st. Don't do like we did in high school, where you cram for the test the night before the test. It's not an adult way to do it, and it's not a professional way to do it. You're not going to do your best work. You're going to feel harried. You're going to feel apologetic. Then don't put yourself in that position.